Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz, your host of the Raiders Report. And coming up, I'm going to tell you right now, y'all are going to love the pick that the Raiders just made in the 6th round at 180. JJ Pegues, defensive tackle from Ole Miss. I liked a plan. Y'all know that I love a plan, and I think that this is going to be somebody that the Raiders plan to use on offense. I said offense, defensive tackle, and on defense. Coming up here on this show, I'm going to tell you what I think that plan is. And if you want the Raiders to try to replicate maybe some of the things that Philadelphia has done, I would say yet again, this is the type of move that the Philadelphia Eagles just did to take down a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's first talk about, though, Pegues in terms of what he's going to be able to Pegues in terms of what he's going to be able to bring to the table on the defensive side of the football. 23 years old, 6'2", 309 pounds. We've been sitting up here saying, I believe the Raiders are going to try to build in the trenches a little bit more. I believe they're looking for some bigger bodies. I understand that they went with Tonka Hemingway earlier in round 4 at 135. That's somebody who also brings some versatility on the defensive line. 42 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks last season for Ole Miss. I'm going to read some of the fun stats that we have here through Chat Sports. He's going to be 24 years old in the month of November. A very interesting prospect overall. 0 missed tackles in 2023. Was a solid overall nose tackle. High character player. Got some bend. Good athletic ability. What's really fun, though, is Ole Miss would line him up at outside, like edge, and also line him up at defensive tackle. And as you can see, Tom has him ranked as the overall 177th player. Flashed as a short yardage back. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. But he's got the burst off the line. Does struggle to maybe counters and facing some double teams. Maybe it's not somebody that you think just wants to be a space eater. But I think if you're the Raiders, you go, Max Crosby, we need to make as many players as humanly possible. We got to get players that benefit Max Crosby. We need to get guys that benefit Christian Wilkins. And we need to get guys that benefit Malcolm Kuntz. And when I think about the moves that the Raiders have made on offense, all the moves that the Raiders have made so far in this draft are, how can I make sure that Ashton Jeany is the best possible player that he can be? And I think the Raiders on defense right now, a lot of the moves that they're making are going, how can I add some defensive players that go, you know what, how can I make Adam Butler, Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz the best players that they could possibly be? One of the most dangerous words I always use is versatility. And Patrick Graham loves players that offer versatility. The 2 defensive linemen that the Raiders drafted today are both versatile defensive tackle, edge rusher types. Also, the 2 offensive linemen that the Raiders drafted yesterday. A lot of versatility in both of those players. All of these guys are high character dudes. So you know that the Raiders are trying to build something for the long haul, and you're building this high character college football type of program. Buy into what I'm selling here for 2 to 3 years. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you didn't know who JJ Pegues was, I'm guaranteeing you this. You're going to remember this young man's name by the end of the show, and I'm going to tell you what I think the Raiders did also here, because I think they're going to use him on the offensive side of the football. We're going to break all that down here in just a moment, but if you think that this pick stinks, I think that you stink. Shout out to today's sponsor, Mando. If you want to get a starter pack, it's code CHAT. I love Mando, and I'm telling you this, we've been sweating all day here on the Raiders Report, and if you've been partying with us here on the Raiders Report today, give me some Mandos down below, because you can control body odor anywhere with Mando. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates over 40% off your starter pack. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Spring is in the air. Your boy has been sweating, but you know what? My grundle doesn't stink. My butt crack doesn't stink. My stinky crevices, they don't stink. Stomach folds, my feet. I'm not going to lie, my feet, they might stink. I didn't put any Mando on them. But if I would have, Mando controls odor for 72 hours. It's clinically proven. Clinically proven to control odor better than a shower with soap alone. Chugs the sniff of my grundle. He gave me a 0 out of 10. If I didn't have Mando on, it would have been a 5 out of 10 in the stink level. So as a special offer to our Raiders Report listeners on frickin' round 6, day 3 of the 2025 NFL Draft, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Please support the Raiders Report. Tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Let's talk about JJ Pegues here and why I believe he's going to play on the offensive side of the football. Let's go back to one of the notes that Tom had. Flashed as a short yardage back with 7 touchdowns on 21 carries in the year 2024. In 21 carries, JJ Pegues ended up having 18 first downs or touchdowns. So this is an Ole Miss team that would use him in some short yardage ways. He's also played some fullback. So if you're the Raiders and you look at your running back room right now, there's not a single guy that you have as a back that could potentially be a fullback. And Chugs just said it like laughingly, a Zamir White type of replacement. I should also mention Isaiah Spiller did get cut. We haven't updated the depth chart since the draft, so just keep that in mind. But maybe laughingly a Zamir White replacement. But I do say this. I always think that teams are copycat teams that come off a Super Bowl win. And if you're a Raiders fan and you don't see what the freaking Philadelphia Eagles did to Kansas City in that Super Bowl, I think the Raiders are taking a little bit of a page out of that book. I get it. 2 defensive tackles on day 3. Maybe it's not that big of a deal. But when the Philadelphia Eagles went out and they selected Jalen Carter after the year before taking Jordan Davis, that was a team that didn't need defensive tackle help. They already had Milton Williams, but they said, you know what? We're going to bolster our trenches even more. The Raiders coming into this draft had a very strong defensive line. They tried to bolster that defensive line more with guys that are going to help their stars be the stars. The guys they're paying, that's where they're really going to be able to shine. But then also the Philadelphia Eagles have mastered this thing called the tush push. And I almost wonder if there is going to be a time where they ban the tush push. Could the new era of the tush push be, let's go get a really super athletic defensive tackle that we trust to be able to put the football on his belly and to be able to go get first downs? Because when you got a 6'2", 310-pound guy running the 540, and that is as athletic as what JJ is, you want to be able to replace Josh Jacobs with a JJ? Let's go out and get us a brand new JJ. Somebody that, again, 21 carries, 18 first downs or touchdowns at Ole Miss. That sounds like an athlete. That sounds like a football player. And the last time we drafted a freaking football player where I sat up here and I said, that guy's a football player, was Brock Bowers. Not saying it's going to be Brock Bowers, but I understand the pick overall. Let's also talk about another pick that literally just happened. Will Howard off the board to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I almost wonder now, one of the things that I talked about is, could the Raiders use one of their 6th-round picks? You got to pick at 213, you got to pick at 215, and then you got another pick coming up here at 222 in the 7th round. Could you potentially use one of those 3 picks to be able to trade up and go get a quarterback? Because I think if the Raiders want a QB, the only other guy that they want is Quinn Ewers. If they don't come out with a QB out of this draft, watch out for the kid from North Dakota State, Cam Miller, I believe is his name. They had a top 30 visit with him. But Will Howard off the board to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if I was Howard, I would love that opportunity. If I was a Steelers fan, and I know a lot of Steelers fans are Ohio State fans, believe it or not, that's probably a pick that they like a lot. But if you're the Raiders, watch out for Quinn Ewers. Maybe they try to trade up for him. Personally, I would rather just roll with Aiden O'Connell than trading up for Quinn Ewers or drafting any quarterback, quite frankly. I want the Raiders to go out and draft a linebacker. If you're tuning in, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure those notifications are turned on. We are about to get back to the live audience here. Anytime the Raiders make a pick, we break it all down for you to give you a little bit more insight of why or what we think of the pick overall.